Today you are going to be working on the assignment 106, Dueling Dune Buggies, which you will find in the Schoology course, and it is titled 106 Dueling Dune Buggies inside that Unit 1 folder. When you open up the document and you go into your document to edit that, it's a Google Sheet. You'll need to start by typing in your student ID number without the S, and that will load in values for you that are randomized. So your assignment will not have the same numbers or exact information as your neighbors. Keep that in mind because although you can work together, you will have different answers. So it's important that you're paying attention to the values on your assignment. You try to get this done before class is over. I will say most people have been able to do that, but there are some people that finished it in 10 minutes. Some people took the whole period. It really just depends on how well you're understanding what we've done so far. So hopefully it doesn't take you the whole period, but don't worry if it takes you more than 10 minutes, that's okay too. But you're going to need to finish this by 11:59 p.m. tonight. So if you don't finish it in the room, you can finish it at home, but I'm going to very strongly encourage you to work on it in class and try to get it finished in class, so that you have the opportunity to work with other people, ask questions, collaborate, all of that, because you can't really do that as well outside of class or when you get home. If you do finish early, then you can work on your toy car RA, which is due tonight by 11:59 p.m. and everybody's turning that in. That is not one lab per group. That is every person turns in their own lab. Yes, you have the same data as the other members of your group, but the rest of it needs to be done on your own. I don't mind if you talk to them about it, but you should not have identical explanations and things like that. It needs to be in your words, not in your neighbor's words. So let me go ahead and show you what this assignment looks like. So when you open up, oops, I did not mean to do that. When you open up the Dueling Dune Buggies assignment, it looks like this. Let me zoom in so we can see it a little bit better. And so here's where you're going to type in your student ID number. If you don't type in an ID, you'll notice the question that's down here is not one that's possible to answer, because it says right now that you have two different cars, and car A has a speed of 0 and car B has a speed of 0. So obviously you're in a scenario where nothing is moving, and therefore you can't answer the question. And so you need to type in your ID number. I'm going to use mine. But you need to, just kidding, I'm not going to use that one. I forgot I turned, there, we'll use that one. But you need to type in an ID number so that you can get your values for your question. And so if you do that, you can see now it says I have two different constant velocity cars. Car A has a speed of 1.55 meters per second, and car B has a speed of 2.36 meters per second. The cars are separated by 5.5 meters and travel towards each other. Assume car A initially moves forward from the reference point. Okay, so the scenario that is being described is one in which you have two of these cars, like what we used in our lab. Okay, so you have two of these guys. Okay, and one of them moves at 1.55 meters per second in my question. The other one moves at 2.36 meters per second in my question, and I'm going to put them 5.5 meters apart, whatever, on the ground, of course. And then they're going to move toward each other, and what the question that you're answering is the position and time at which they would collide. Okay, where will they hit each other? What position will that be? And it does tell you in the question that car A initially moves from the reference point, which means it's telling you where 0 is. So car A starts at 0 and car B starts 5.5 meters away from that, and now they're going toward each other. Okay, and so your first question is just to make a prediction. Okay, are they going to meet exactly halfway, or where are they going to meet? Okay, and that you're going to type in your answer here. Again, it will be based on your numbers. Then you're going to go down, and numbers 2 and 3 are where you actually type in the location where the cars will meet or collide and the time that will take them to do that. Okay, and so you're going to type in your values here. If you read the instructions, it does tell you to round all number values to at least 2 decimal places and to write all answers in complete sentences. Okay, so please make sure when you put in these numbers you don't put 3. Okay, if it's not 3, don't type 3. If it's exactly 3, type 3.00, although I would be surprised if any of them were exact whole numbers. Okay, there is a right answer to this. Okay, it's not, it's probably about 1.72. No, you need to actually calculate it. In fact, you can solve this in 3 different ways. There are 2 different approaches you can take algebraically to solve this. So you can do it with algebra. The third approach is with a graph, and honestly, if algebra is not your strong suit, or even if it is, the graph might be easier. Okay, and so I would encourage you to start there. There is a spot here for you to upload a photo of your work. If your work is a graph, you're going to upload a graph here. I have a lot of screenshots from Desmos. Cool, that works for me. If you solved it algebraically and you wrote it out on paper, you're going to take a picture of your work where I can see your steps, and you're going to upload that. But a photo goes in this box, and then underneath it there's a spot for you to type out your explanation. Explain what you did with your graph, or explain what that math means and how you found your answers. Okay, as you complete this assignment, it is going to update your score up here. So you can tell how you're doing, because it'll say 0. And then when you get one right, it's going to change it to 15 or whatever. So when you turn it in, it should say 100. Okay, if you have full credit. If it says anything else, just be aware that means that you're missing something. Okay, you're missing points somewhere. So that is what you are doing during class today. It's a single scenario, one question with multiple parts to it, but it's one question. Okay, so depending on how quickly you're able to get this done, you might be done, like I said, in 10 or 15 minutes. If you're struggling, it might take you a little longer, but if you do finish early, you can work on that toy car RA, which is due, again, also due tonight by 11:59 p.m. Now, I will say this. If you raise your hand and you say, I don't know how to do this, I need help, if I come to your desk and you do not have paper in front of you, with at the very least a sketch of something, okay, or preferably try to sketch out a graph, even better, but a sketch of the scenario, a sketch of the graph. If you don't have that, that's what I'm going to tell you to do. Hey, I need you to at least sketch this first. Okay, so that we have something to talk about. So if you haven't done that, I'm not going to answer your question. I'm just going to tell you, hey, draw something out and see what you can figure out from what you know. Okay, so you are welcome to work together. In fact, I would encourage it. Talk to your neighbors. See if you guys can work out a plan together to come up with an answer. Yes, it's a different answer, but the process is the same. Okay, so that is your assignment for today. Again, you can use an XT graph. Personally, I find that easier. Or you can use algebra. Either way will get you the answer at the end. But that is what you're working on. So if you do have questions, again, I'm going to encourage you to first talk to your neighbor. But again, if you still aren't sure and you've sketched it out and you've tried the things, then yes, you can raise your hand and I'll be happy to come over there and answer your question. All right, so go ahead and get to work. Hopefully you finish it quickly. If not, you have the whole period. Okay, if you can't finish it in that amount of time, then we probably have some other concerns because we do have quiz and test coming up next week. All right, go ahead and get to work. And again, if you have questions, please let me know.